The ones who actually take the time to read the book, they always come back to me and say, hey, I found your inscription in the book, and I just want to let you know I read that part today. And I thought that was a brilliant idea.
That's nice.
So I like that.
Well, another thing we were just talking about, and John Jones, you and I were talking about this more than Bryan, because Bryan's a tennis player, but John, you're a golfer. And, we had a big golf tournament this weekend.
Use tennis player lightly, by the way.
He's played.
I played tennis. I didn't say I was competitive at tennis.
Bryan says, I'm a dancer. Okay, so, but
So welcome to another episode of the Contacts to Contracts podcast. I am Bryan Lovell, always here with the amazing John Jones. By the way, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's good to be back in studio with Kyle, our superb video guy. So let's introduce no stranger to the show, by the way, a regular, so to speak.
Right.
Let's bring in Mr. Steve Richman. Steve, thanks for joining us today.
I like how you say no stranger. I'm like, my wife always tells me, nobody's stranger than you. So, I'm just sitting here going, maybe not.
Well, listen, I feel like over the past couple of years, I've gotten to know you pretty well, and I don't know that I would disagree with your wife.
Yeah, she's probably spot on that.
But I love you just the same. So, hey, Steve, thanks for joining us, because I know you add a lot of value to any conversation that we have. But, John and I just kind of thought maybe we would talk specifically about marketing, or I'll even call it activities that originators could be doing in the current mortgage climate that we're in. So, I think everybody, by the way, knows our business has really moved more to solely purchase. I think, for a period of time, it was purchase with a lot of refi mixed in. And today it's a lot of purchase with very little refi mixed in. But I think even the purchase market is starting to slow down a little bit. Obviously, we've seen, record low inventories. We've seen record high appreciation. I think we're starting to see some of the beginning signs in the market that those things are going to shift too. And I think the reality is today, John, that as a loan originator, if you want to go get your unfair share, you've got to have more referral partners today than you did a year ago, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago.
100%.
Because the reality is a lot of the referral partners that you have are doing less business that they've done before. So I'll just throw out some math on that is, hey, if you were hitting your goals consistently previously with 50 good referral partners, 50 agents sending you at least one deal a year, I think today you need 70, 75 agents to close the same amount of business.
I would, if not more, double it essentially, try to double down and double your database.
Yeah.
You look back and coming into 2020, when real estate really took off for our industry as lenders and real estate agents, the influx that we had, trying to fight for that same share. Mm-hmm. I think we were up 50+% in licensed originators and realtors that are still in the market, hanging in there, trying to fight for every deal that's out there. So until things normalize, there's fewer deals for the individuals out there. So you've got to have a plan, a strategy in place. Mm-hmm. You're running a business, whether you're in mortgage or real estate, and you've got to every day show up with how am I going to get in front of people? How am I going to promote myself, my goods, services, what I do for a living? Yeah. And I think the last 2 years, a lot of us maybe got our eye off the, a little out of focus, because as busy as we were, we didn't necessarily had to worry about necessarily marketing, right? The phones were ringing in.
You didn't have to be as intentional.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You could make mistakes and still do well.
Correct.
Right? So, Steve, are John and I speaking gibberish? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I wasn't listening. No.
Get his wife on.
You heard me say this the other day when I was giving a presentation. We were in Kentucky. When the going gets tough, everybody says the tough gets going. No, when the going gets tough, you know what the tough do? They get organized, they get disciplined, and they have a plan. Those are the three things that they do. This is not the time to be winging it. This is the time that you actually are batten down the hatches and full steam ahead, mm-hmm. right?
100%.
So I'll say that again. You got to be disciplined. You got to be organized, and you got to have a plan. But I'll even throw an extra one in there because I was just listening to you. And John, you said this a little bit more than Bryan because you got statistical on us.
Wow.
You still have to be positive. So, yeah, I mean, when you look at the numbers, it was like this number's down, that number's down. Your marketing is got, they say misery loves company.
Yes.
But I got to tell you something. I don't want the company of a bunch of miserable people.
No.
So in today's world, I'm not saying you go out and say it's all sunshine and unicorns, okay? You can absolutely be realistic, but you still got to go out there and have a smile on your face and have some optimism.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, we agree with that.
So, Steve, you and I got to talking a couple of days ago, and I shared with you kind of an idea for a podcast that I wanted you to be a part of with John and I. And what I asked you to do was put together some thoughts on what are some activities or marketing things specifically that loan originators could do in this market to help them bridge that gap that John and I kind of opened the show with. So, you want to kick us off? I guess there's no particular order, but what's number one on your list?
Yeah, I mean, I got some like out there things. I got some. You should be doing this today.
I love out there things.
Well, all right, I'll do an out there thing first. You know how, and I'm not wearing one of my Van Dyke shirts today. I don't think either of you are, but everybody has their logo.
Yes.
You know, right here is always where it is on a shirt. There's a friend of mine. His name is Dale, and he actually has on his back pocket of his pants his company logo.
Okay.
And I saw him, and I saw the back pocket of his pants. I'm like, hey, you got like a sticker or something on that? He goes, no, that's my company logo. Do you know how often people stop me because they see that logo on the back of my pants because that's not where they're expecting to see it? And then we have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do like that.
Somebody recognizes the logo. What were they looking at?
They were looking at his booty.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
But
Good conversation starter.
John, I'm with you. But as the minute you see something that looks like it's out of place, that's where your attention always gets drawn, right?
Yep.
I mean, no matter what it is. So when you have that on your back pocket, it's not that somebody, they're looking at me. No, it just, that doesn't belong there. So it draws your attention because if you always see it the same place, you never look at it again. So I think that's a really neat
clever
way
idea.
to do that.
Yeah.
And he says he gets stopped. He never got stopped when he was wearing his shirt and the logo was right here. Nobody was ever like, let me talk about that.
Yeah.
Because, boom.
Yeah. Listen, I got a buddy of mine who owns his own insurance agency. John, you know him. We've had him on the show, David Carruthers. The dude is he's one of the best marketers I've ever met. But everything is about his brand. And everything is about his logo. So, he's very specific about, even if he's not wearing something that has to do with his logo or his brand, it's the colors of his brand, right? Which his are yellow and blue. And I saw him post a picture on Facebook the other day of just him in a suit and everything was yellow or blue. Right. So even when he's not representing his logo, he's representing his brand in one way or another. Yeah. But what I'll tell you he does is he very much wears logo wear all the time. He's always wearing a hat. He's always got on a shirt or, T-shirts or whatever. And I think, Steve, the point you're making is do something that's a little bit different, right? Put it someplace people wouldn't expect it. But I think the overall picture of it is, hey, you should be wearing your brand. Right? You want to start conversations in the supermarket or wherever it might be. They say all the time, I hear agents say all the time about, I always wear my name tag everywhere that I go, right? This is kind of no different, but hey, put that, wear that logo where everybody can see it.
Yep. Say logo. There's a woman down in Southwest Florida, Pinky Benson, right? And so everything she does is based on pinks. Phenomenal real estate agent, drives her brand, does a great job. Now, I'll take the next one. We've talked for a long time. You should have a customer appreciation event. Mm-hmm. How do you make it a little different? People are dying to see people today. People want to be face-to-face. So call it something fun. Like, hey, COVID, say goodbye to COVID. Boom. I'll show up for a say goodbye to COVID event instead of a customer appreciation event. Because this is when we were toying with this. We might be doing this one. It's like, I'm sick of Zoom. Right? I'm going to have an I'm sick of Zoom event. We're having it face
Amen.
to face. Right? So when you have a little bit of fun to it, when you say, oh, a customer appreciation, that just sounds formal, right?
Yeah.
And people are chiming to get out, and they're begging to get that face-to-face. So you say, say goodbye to COVID, or, I'm tired of Zoom event. And boom, people are going to show up for that.
Yeah, Steve, I want to expand on that a little bit because, by the way, I love that. And John, you and I talked earlier in this year that we felt this year was the year of the event, right? Meaning you hosting your own events. Mm-hmm. And Steve, I love the customer appreciation event. Hey, listen, LOs, you're seeing a lot of real estate agents get back to doing some of those customer appreciation events like they've done in the past. They'll hold a pie day or a shred day or a movie day or whatever. Listen, plug in, bring your two databases together, bring your database along with the real estate agent's database, do an event together like that and bring in both of your clients, right? I think there's great opportunities coming up with July 4th to maybe do, an ice cream social or, some fireworks or something like that. But I think, anytime that you can bring in somebody else to help you put together an event, I think it can be that much bigger. Also, I would say to loan originators, hey, I would go through your database of agents who've sent you deals in the past. And by the way, maybe you also take a look at listing agents, not just buyer's agents. Do an event just for them, an appreciation for your referral partners. John, one of the things that you and I have been encouraging LOs to do over the past couple of weeks is, hey, go back to 2019 and then look forward to today to the agents that sent you business in 2019. And one of the things that you and I are uncovering as we're talking to loan officers about that is they're seeing agents on that 2019 list that they're not doing business with anymore today, right? Out of sight became out of mind. 100%. And so I would encourage to take Steve's advice here and maybe put together an event. Go back to like 2019 and invite every agent that you had a transaction with on either side of the table to an event. Put something together for that.
Well, when you say that, what I hear people say is, well, I haven't talked to them since 2019. I don't know what to say, right? Here's my
That's not long ago, though. I mean, that's the whole thing. The world changed with COVID, so now more than ever, we want to reach out. There are a lot of realtors that I've run across and that essentially kind of like faded away from the business for a period of time, for whatever reasons, right? Maybe they're closer to retirement, but they just kind of took a back seat. And now as things have opened back up, that they probably feel just as guilty, right? That they haven't communicated or sent us a referral, but now they're back at it. They're at 100%. And they're like, hey, I don't want to call Bryan. I let him down, the last year and a half. I lost focus. Yeah. But you need to go back to 19 and definitely rekindle those. I mean, almost to an LO. When we run that report, we see 2 or 3 agents that inevitably we don't get referrals from, in 21 and 22 that we were getting referrals from in 19. So you want to identify what happened.
100%.
An easy way to do that, it's one sentence long. Send them a text, send them an email that's one sentence long. Hey, I'm just checking in to see how you're doing during these crazy times.
Boom.
That's it.
I like it.
You know what you didn't say? Mortgage. You didn't say real estate. Look, the world's crazy right now, so I care about you, and I'm just checking in to see how you're doing during these crazy times. I did that for the first year of COVID. I had about a 100% return rate. As soon as somebody read that, oh, you're just checking in? Great. I'm dying to talk to somebody right now, so we're doing it. So just checking in to see how you're doing during these crazy times.
Hey, by the way, Steve, I'm sure this happened to you, but in the last couple of years, has a hotel brand or an airline brand reached out to you to be like, yo, we haven't seen you in a while?
I'll give a shout out to American Airlines and to Hilton Hotels. Okay, they've both reached out to me for that very reason.
Yeah, and those are cool. The point I'm making is those are big brands. Right. Steve, what else you got for us?
Well, you were talking, do a shred event, things like that. The world today, and you got to see how many people got pets during COVID, right? We are pet crazy in the United States of America today. Why aren't you saying, bring your pet? I mean, I brought my pet to work today, and people go nuts just looking at those pictures on Facebook. Or we can have a dog meet up at a local dog park where we're all going to take our dogs and go for a walk together as a community. You can, anything you post on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you can do that is pet related, people go nuts for. I'll take it one step further. Just go and Google top dog owner apps. And all of a sudden, you'll see all these apps, and then you can share those apps on your Facebook, your LinkedIn, and things like that.
Yeah.
What were you saying, John?
I said our world is definitely pet friendly now. I mean, you and I were down in Fort
You can take them anywhere. Oh, that was funny.
Right. So, I mean, in downtown Los Olas, right, wherever you go, you can bring, virtually right to the bar.
Yeah.
You see, I was with Catherine and, last week down there, and I mean, no problem rolling a dog around town, right into a restaurant, Louis Bossy, wherever we went.
Yeah, I tell you, take that step further. I had some communication with one of our LOs in Texas over the weekend, and he was doing an event to the advice that we've been offering today.
Yeah.
And his comment was like, we have these branded, I'll call them poop bags.
Yes.
Right. They're like this thing that you store the poop bags in. And he was like, out of all the tchotchkes that he had laid out on a table, smoked out of those. It was the number one thing people wanted. Yeah. So, yes, Steve, you're absolutely right.
Pets. And now, watch this. This is a great transition here. So John says, hey, you haven't talked to him since 2019. That hasn't been that far, but they didn't send you business for 2 years. We talked about pet dogs. Let's talk about pet pigs. P-I-G-S. What does that mean? Go back and look up the people that you do business with, and I want you to put them what's called a 4-blocker, right? So you draw, you have your, make your, not an
make a quadrant,
or whatever, right? And then it's like, so in the bottom there, you got how easy are they to work with? Well, they're easy to work with or they're difficult to work with, and how much volume do they do? So when you have someone who's difficult to work with and they do no volume, do we all know that real estate agent that's sitting out there?
A handful of them, yes.
Of course we do. Well, that's your S, P-I-G-S. That's strategize. How do you strategize not dealing with that person anymore? You know what? It's time to cut you out of my life. Now, what's going to happen? Let's go to the P. They do a ton of volume and they're easy to work with. Well, that's a P. You got to protect them from anybody else coming in, and that's what we want to do, and we create our game plan for that. Then we look at what? Hey, they have a whole lot of volume, right? Excuse me, that's this way. A whole lot of volume, but they're difficult to work with. How do I improve, P-I, improve working with that person? How do I make that process better? Then we have the what? The G, that's for grow. That's the person who doesn't have a lot of volume, but they're wonderful to be with. So why can't we show them how to grow their business? I love it. Because if I'm able to do that, now I know for each one, this is what I should be spending my time on for protect, improve, grow, strategize, pigs, which then takes me to my next thing. Well, I always take my real estate agents to lunch. I take them to lunch. This is what you should do when you're taking somebody to lunch. Don't just take them to lunch. What you want to say right then and there is there a newbie in your office that you'd like to invite? Don't invite the other top producer, because the other top producer is going to be what? They're already somebody else's pig, protect category. But this newbie's the what? You know they're a good person because somebody you like is inviting them to lunch. But now if you can show them how to grow their business with all these marketing things that we're talking about here, you've captured that person because you were with them when they weren't getting a lot of volume.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I like it. Listen, I've always said, like, in terms of that new agent, if you get their first deal, you'll get deals 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And the reason is when they're new, like, I don't want to rock the boat. Like, I'm going to use the same title company, the same LO, if everything went off well.
Correct.
It's the seasoned agent who has the confidence to be like, you know what, I'll give somebody else a try. But that newbie, they're going to stay in a comfort zone for a period of time. So your window of opportunity to secure business out of them is early on.
And look, we know most newly licensed agents, they run across a deal or two, right? Mm-hmm. So they need to have a source, right? So
typically friends.
There's a good chance that you're going to get a referral for sure.
Yep, cool.
Well, you talk about agents, and I think it was sort of said here a little bit, but the listing agent is your customer just as much as the buyer's agent is. And if you're not in constant communication with them, marketing to them, talking to them, putting them part of your marketing plan, there's nothing greater than demoing how awesome you are in front of a listing agent, because one day they're going to be a buyer's agent, so you need to be in touch with that person constantly.
Yep.
The other idea that I have, this is going to sound really weird, but read a book. What do you mean, read a book? Of course I'm going to... No, read a book. You know what real estate agents would love to hear? New ideas. So if you go out and you read The Conversion Code by Chris Smith, great book. It's going to give you 10 ideas right there. So instead of walking into an office of a real estate agent and saying, hi, here's what's going on with rates, and here's a new loan program, you're saying, hey, I just read this fantastic book. First off, what a great gift to give to somebody is a book. They always remember when you give them a book. And you could say, hey, this is something that I learned from this book that you can help. We were on a phone call earlier today, Mr. Lovell, and you did the old Gary V, jab, jab, hook, right? I mean, that comes right out of his book that he talks about. So you're taking all that information and now you're distilling it and giving that over to that real estate agent and helping them market and grow their business. Why would you not want to do that?
Yep. Listen, I think that's a great idea. I love to read. I believe that leaders are readers. And one of the things I've always done when I gifted a book is I write a note inside the binder, because I want it to permanently be there. Like if I write a card and put it in the book, they're going to toss the card out. But if I write my note inside the binder,
remember you.
It's always there. Yeah. Somebody gave me this idea. I apologize, I can't give credit for it because I can't remember who it was. It was recently conversation, but we were having a conversation about gifting books and writing the notes in the inside. And this person said, one of the next step I do is I always gift a book I've read, and I go to a section of the book that's my favorite, and I highlight that paragraph or those couple of sentences, and I put my initials with the date on it, and that's what I put them in the book. He said, now I don't tell them that I've made a note inside the book, but the ones who actually take the time to read the book, they always come back to me and say, hey, I found your inscription in the book, and I just want to let you know I read that part today. And I thought that was a brilliant idea.
That's nice.
So I like that.
Well, the other thing we were just talking about, and John Jones, you and I were talking about this more than Bryan, because Bryan's a tennis player, but John, you're a golfer. And, we had a big golf tournament this weekend.
Use tennis player lightly, by the way.
He's played.
I played tennis. I didn't say I was competitive at tennis.
Bryan says, I'm a dancer. Okay, so...